Time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1. It is time to catch up with YTSS, the podcast. Yeah, that soccer show. GVLsoccer.com's Chris Ashley for our 1v1, our bi-monthly 1v1 when it comes to the Greenville Triumph. Chris, as always, good to catch up, my friend.
Always glad to come and talk about my Triumph. Still top of the table, regardless of anything that you may have heard from the last week.
Yes. All right, so let's go to Richmond. Early start at City Stadium, 6:30 last Saturday. 2-1 loss, and that has closed ranks a little bit at the top of the table.
Yeah. So first off, I got to say, I might have to have a little bit of my fandom points docked. I was on my way home, walked in the door at 6:30, and I had thought the game was at 7. So I got a notice on my watch, hey, the game has kicked off, and was frantically turning on the TV and remembered, oh, they're doing their 7-minute protest anyway, so I didn't miss anything. But I was cutting it close on Saturday with the Richmond match. Again, look, this was a battle of the two best teams in the league. I think they looked that way for most of the match. It was really, I would say it was as even a match as we've seen all season. And, I think a 2-1 victory there felt a little bit painful for Greenville. A 2-1 victory for Richmond, that is. Felt a little bit painful. That second goal right before half, it was kind of a wonky play, a shot that hits off the post, and the entire back line just kind of froze in place. Riley Kraft's the only one who wanted to keep playing to the whistle, and he's able to just punch one in past Dallas there, and that ultimately is the difference in the game. And it was not the best of games for the Triumph, but I think they came out from the second half with a fire and a vigor under them. I think just, again, I think I tweeted from the podcast account that definitely changed Coach Harks's halftime speech, and they were going to rightfully get chewed out for that mistake there. But they came out in the second half. They looked like they had a fire about them. But at that point, Richmond has the lead. They're sitting bunkering a little bit more, and then when Ian Antley gets the red card, they completely park the bus. So it's a tough loss, but again, this is what you expect when it's number 1 and number 2, and we're still at the top of the table and still kind of control our own destiny.
And you look at the table right now, 3 points separating you and Richmond. Richmond has, safe to say, their longest roadie of the year this weekend with the trip to Tucson, a 10:30 start on September 5th. So they've got a little while to figure out how to get to Tucson, and they might have to change planes about 9 times to get from Richmond to Tucson for that one. And Greenville right now lost 2 in a row, and the big one's coming up against Tormenta, but we're at the halfway point. We're in the middle of the back stretch here. When you look at the first 8 matches for Greenville, what have you seen?
Well, I've seen a team that is very different from a team the first half of last season. Despite the past 2 results and getting 2 losses on the road, which to me, again, I think you would have loved to have at least a point from New England, considering they haven't shown a ton of quality this season. Right, yeah. But getting a loss on the road to Richmond is not all that bad of a result, considering where you were at going into that match. But here's the deal. I mean, last year at the halfway point, this team was, I think they had a record of like 3-5-2. They had a 7% chance of making the playoffs, and they were in 7th place in the table. And, 7% making a 4-team playoff. And right now they are 4-2-1, and they have a 70% chance of making the playoffs and are at the top of the table. So granted, the last week has not been great in terms of results, but this team is in very good shape going into the back half of the season. They're going to wrap up the road trip here to a Tormenta team that's going to be missing one of their best players, and honestly, the thorn in Greenville's side, and Josh Phelps. He's going to be sitting out of suspension for a red card. So that, I think, bodes well for Greenville. Tormenta has struggled a little bit this year. We can get into that a little bit, but I think you're looking at a chance to go on the road, maybe get at least a point, and then come back home for a couple matches. That won't be easy, but this team definitely plays better at home for sure.
Yeah, Richmond, 2 matches in hand right now. They've only played 6 on the year. Same with Union Omaha, who I think is safe to say been the surprise of League One with 12 points so far in their 6 matches at 3-0-3. with Greenville and Tormenta, and go ahead and explain to the folks why you're disavowing me now on social media.
Well, listen, you showed up on the eve of this big rivalry match on to soccer down here on the Twitch pitch, and you're wearing your Tormenta shirt this morning, and I'm just, I as a member in good standing of the SDH network here, and someone that has a weekly show covering the Triumph, I had to put my foot down, John.
I was showing support for local charities that Tormenta has been benefiting during COVID-19 and everything going on in Bullitt County as a part of their initiatives. And so that's what it was all about. It was also higher in the stack of clean clothes than in the Greenville Triumph clothing currently. So I will, in the interest of equal time for you tomorrow in the show, as we're talking, since we're talking on Thursday, in the interest of equal time Friday, I will wear Greenville Triumph apparel on the show. How about that?
That's fair. I will give you a pass.
How has this rivalry grown with Greenville and Tormenta over time from your perspective? What's this one been like to see grow organically?
It's been, again, I think this was a rivalry that the league approached last season at the beginning of the year and said, hey, this is the closest, at least geographical rivals in the whole league. So we're going to really focus on growing this rivalry. And, I think the skeptical fan could say, well, that doesn't feel very organic. That feels manufactured from the league standpoint, from the team standpoint. But I really don't think it's that. I think you have two coaches that are very familiar with each other, very familiar with the tactics. You have sets of owners that are very friendly with each other, and hence these wagers that are on the line with barbecue and coffee and beer. I think the biggest part of it that has helped it be organic is the results between these teams. These teams have been very evenly matched. It's gone back and forth in terms of results on the pitch. You have a lot of familiarity in terms of players from year to year, and because we played this team so many times last season, like I say, I can sit here and say Josh Phelps is not a popular man in the Greenville community because he's a center back, and he's a rough center back, and he plays rough, and we don't like our players to get knocked around. So we don't appreciate his antics as much, but I can also recognize, his skill. And then to have a guy like Alex Morel, who played for Tormenta last year, they let him walk inexplicably, and Greenville has brought him in, and he's been a shining star for us this season. I think those are the kinds of things that help make a rivalry feel extra powered and supercharged. And so I think that's what's been really cool about this. And again, the Tormenta fans are great. The Riot is obviously great. We have a friendly relationship with them. There's not a lot of animosity in real life, but definitely adds fuel to the fire when our teams are matching each other on the pitch.
Player of the Month nominations are out for the month of August. Someone very familiar to you on a weekly basis, on a game-by-game basis, is a part of this run. It is Terzaghi from Richmond, Ricky Lopez-Espin from Fort Lauderdale CF, Greg Hurst from Chattanooga Red Wolves, Ethan Vanacore-Decker from Union Omaha, and Dallas J. Those are your Player of the Month nominees for August. What do you think?
I mean, that's a stout lineup. Can we sign all of those guys? Because I would easily. I mean, that's all of those guys have had incredible runs so far this season. There was a July Player of the Month, Jake Keegan, but July had like 2 matches, and so August. This is kind of really the first month of the season. This is the All Stars up to this point. And I can't disagree with any name on that list. I can't be mad about anybody winning that award. I think you look at Dallas J. He's had 3 shutouts in the last 5 matches this month, and that's huge. I mean, as a goalkeeper, that's all you can ask. All you can ask is say, hey, don't let them score. And, I've made the joke on Twitter that the league just needs to rename the Save of the Week award the Dallas J USL League One Save of the Week, because he seems to win it every week. And, it's part of it is Greenville doesn't give up a lot of opportunities on goal, but when they do, and there is a good chance, Dallas is the guy that has kept the clean sheet. He's kept this team in matches. He's kept us at the top of the table in a lot of respects.
Most of the teams have only played 6 matches. Greenville and South Georgia Tormenta have played 8. Literally everybody else has played 6 matches so far. Let me go below the playoff bar here for a second. We talked about Union Omaha with 12 points in 6 matches. Tormenta and Greenville will be playing match number 9 for themselves this weekend. Tormenta's at 9 points. Forward Madison, they also had a player picked up they picked up a player this week. They're at 8 points ahead of Red Wolves on goal difference at 8. Fort Lauderdale CF is at 7 points in 7th place. FC Tucson, North Texas at 6. Orlando City B and New 2 are at 5. OCB ahead on goal difference as well. So literally when you're looking at League One right now, 4 points separate 4th from 11th right now on the table.
Yeah, and all of those teams desperately need points if they're going to make any kind of run, because I feel like at this point, Greenville and Richmond and Omaha have really set themselves apart as the class of the league. It's going to be a dogfight to see which 2 of those 3, I think, get into the final. Some other people could stake some claim, and that, but they're going to have to really fight for it. I think Tormenta, that's what's going to give them the fire tomorrow night. They're going to want all 3 points because they desperately need it. And it's kind of one of those twofers, right? Because if they can get 3 and keep Greenville from adding any to their tally, that's going to just help close the gap a little bit. But the thing that, when you look at the table right now, that more excites me is that I think you can draw a line right in the middle. All of your independent teams are up top and all of your 2B teams are at the bottom. And as a fan of an independent team, that excites me because that means, you can actually compete with these teams that have some MLS loanees or some USL Championship loanees. And I get that this season is very different. They're not, they don't have as much access to that as they may have had in the past, but it's good from my standpoint. I'm grateful that the independent teams are able to really shine this season.
All right, blatant plug alert. What's going on at gvlsoccer.com and with YTSS?
Yeah, that soccer show, the weekly podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at YTSS Podcast, gvlsoccer.com if you prefer more of the written avenue. And you can always follow me at GVL Soccer Guy on Twitter. Some folks in the Twitch pits just making that connection that, that's actually me. I'm on Twitch, the Twitch pitch, and on Twitter at GVL Soccer Guy.
All right, rapid fire before we go. We mentioned the Thursday matchup, OCB in North Texas. That one's in the barn from Osceola Heritage. Friday, the other match that will start at 7 Eastern, New 2 and Forward Madison. What do you think?
I think this is one Madison is gonna really want to win. Again, I think New 2, they got the win against Greenville and then got kicked in the teeth right after that. So I think they're going to be motivated too. But I think Forward, with everything going on in Madison, with them taking a match off last week, I think they're going to be really fired up to win one for their community.
Saturday, 2 matches, 8 o'clock Eastern, Inter Miami CF Stadium. Fort Lauderdale hosts Red Wolves.
Man, that's going to be a good match. That might be the match of the week. I think I got to go draw there. That match is going to be really, really good.
10:30 Eastern at Keno North, FC Tucson hosting Richmond.
I'm going to be asleep, but I think despite it being late, despite the travel, I think Richmond's got too much quality for Tucson in that one.
Sunday, 8 Eastern, Warner Park, Union Omaha hosting OCB. That's a tough turnaround for OCB, playing Thursday at home, then having to pack their bags for a Sunday nighter in Omaha.
Yeah, and, that would normally lend me to say Omaha could get the win, but we call Omaha around here, we call them Oma Draw, because that's what they do all season.
Very nice.
So I think I got to give them the win, though. I think Omaha is going to get the victory there.
Wow, Oma Draw. I'll have to remember that one. Chris, as always, my friend, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1, giving us the lowdown on Greenville Triumph in USL League One. We'll be seeing you in the Twitch pitch. We will catch up with you next week in the audio sense as we're catching up with the Triumph in League One. Be well, my friend.
Thanks, John.